Today, more than a year after an apartment building burned down in southwest Portland, witnesses and experts are sharing their stories in court. The man accused of starting the fire is facing multiple charges, including arson.
Fox 12's McKenna Marks sat in on the testimony today and has the latest updates tonight. McKenna?
Well, Nora, Pete, 31-year-old Garrett Rep was arrested in connection to that fire at the May apartment building, and he's even been accused of starting that fire. Now today, expert witnesses for the prosecution took the stand and went over the details of that case, including the investigation into the fire itself. Now, both an electrical engineer and a forensic engineer took the stand today. This afternoon, and they reviewed the details of their investigation into the fire at May Apartments. Both engineers walked the court through their process as they worked to determine the original cause of the fire. They examined electrical appliances like a stove, a light switch, and a heater. Ivan Valdewedge, an electrical engineer, determined that the fire at May Apartments was not caused by an electrical failure.
Just to summarize, did you find any evidence anywhere within the apartment building that the source of this fire was electrical in nature?
Not in my field examination, no.
Valdewedge wasn't the only engineer who took the stand today. Taylor Bent, a forensic engineer, also took the stand, and he came to that same conclusion.
So my first conclusion was that none of the appliances or building wiring that was collected from the site had any evidence of electrical failure that could have caused this fire.
This fire took place more than a year ago on May 16th back in 2023. That fire displaced more than 100 people. And the May apartment building was 113 years old. And because of this fire, that historic building was demolished back in September of last year. Live in southwest Portland, McKenna Marks, Fox 12 Oregon.